The views expressed on this program are not those of IntellectualRadio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It's Health and Wellness Monday, and our topic for today is the importance of breast cancer survivorship. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive FI with Roman. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, Rosal Gilmore and I discussed behaviors that destroy relationships. You can head over to YouTube and type in Intellectual Radio and stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. The quote of the day is, "Your present circumstances doesn't determine where you can go. They merely determine where you start." We are so grateful for our sponsor on today. We have Emmanuel Church of God in Christ with Pastor Michael Richardson, who has a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
We're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emmanuel Kojic at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emmanuel Kojic-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson. And we're from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
If you are tuned in on any form of social media, like the show, share the show, and invite someone else in on the show that you feel may benefit from this valuable information. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. Thank you so much for serving our country, especially my son Joshua, who served 10 years in the U.S. Army. So take this time out to celebrate those who have served our country on today. Our topic, the importance of breast cancer survivorship. I want to start off with, what is a survivor? And a survivor is anyone who has been diagnosed with cancer. So at the time of diagnosis, all the way up until the end of your life, you are considered a survivor. So I don't care what stage of cancer that you are in. If you're diagnosed with cancer, then you are known as a survivor. Some people don't like that term. Some people like to say they're a thriver if they are still in treatment or they have metastatic breast cancer. Some people like to say warrior. Doesn't matter what you like to say. Survivor is what they label us as whenever you are diagnosed with cancer. So we're talking about survivorship today. What is survivorship? And survivorship starts after breast cancer treatment. So once you're done with breast cancer treatment, it includes long-term health and wellness and different areas as it relates to breast cancer. So a survivor is when you're newly diagnosed and you're going through treatment. Survivorship starts when you are done with treatment. And according to the American Cancer Society, they say that we have 4 million breast cancer survivors in the United States. That includes women and men who are in treatment and who have already completed treatment. And there are different areas of survivorship. So like you could be in a different phase of your survivorship. And the first one is acute survivor. And this one starts from the diagnosis up until the end of treatment, kind of like what a survivor is. So if you were diagnosed, they will say that you're in the acute stage if you were just newly diagnosed. And number 2 is extended survivorship. So extended survivorship is you are done with treatment and you may be freshly out of treatment. So maybe a year or so, they consider you a extended survivor. Number three phase of survivorship is permanent survivor. And these are individuals who have been cancer free for a number of years. You're going to be known as a survivor for the rest of your life. And just remember that survivorship is an ongoing journey. So it's not one single event, and it looks different for everybody. And so the first important thing that we'll go over when it comes to survivorship and breast cancer is to make sure that you are continuing to monitor your health. I cannot stress how important this is. The importance is because after you complete treatment, um, the one thing that survivors do worry about is recurrence, or maybe secondary cancers that may happen. And so, if you are getting regular follow ups, the reason for it is so that they can hopefully catch a recurrence early or a secondary cancer early, because we already know that you can't prevent cancer. So, if we can catch it early, then that's the purpose of you making sure that you are monitoring your health on a regular basis, going to those regular screenings. Once you're done with treatment, they may have you come in every 3 months for maybe the next year or two, and then it goes to 6 months. And then as you get closer to that fifth year, then you may come in once a year after that. Then after that fifth year, they're going to release you back to your general doctor and tell you if you have any issues going on to just um, go to your general doctor first. And then if you need to see an oncologist, then they'll send you over to the oncologist. So at this point, once you're done with treatment, you basically going to be in charge of your monitoring your own health. Number two is physical recovery and rehabilitation. And this one is so important because of the amount of damage and toxicity that comes with treatment, especially if you had chemo and you had radiation. And as far as surgery, like trying to recover from that, trying to rebuild your immune system, and dealing with the side effects from the treatments, the fatigue, the pain, the lymphedema, and just the lingering side effects that comes with treatment, trying to gain your strength. Some people have mobility issues. Some people I've seen on canes. Some people I've seen in wheelchairs. Some people have to learn how to walk all over again, depending on how their body reacted to treatment. And so physical therapy is important, especially if you had lymph nodes removed from your arm. Then you have to try to gain mobility in that arm. So I would encourage you, because a lot of times they're not going to tell you, oh, you need to go to physical therapy because you had those lymph nodes removed. They didn't tell me. And talking to other survivors, they didn't tell them as well. So it's important to know that whenever you go through some type of surgery, there should be some type of physical therapy after that, something to help rehabilitate you, to get you back to what we will call your normal. And we talk about all the time people having to deal with even their new normal, depending on, excuse me, depending on how bad the treatment affected you, or what type of side effects or lingering side effects that you have to deal with after that. And then number three is your mental and emotional health. And I cannot stress how important this is when it comes to dealing with cancer diagnosis, or even when you're finished. A lot of cancer survivors deal with PTSD, because it's traumatizing, being told that you have cancer and then having to go through all of the different treatments. And this is can be a traumatic situation for a lot of individuals. Anxiety, fear of recurrence, and just the impact that it has over your overall health and the quality of health. Some people's quality of health goes down. I mentioned people being on canes or in wheelchairs. I would encourage you to get into some support groups, get counseling, practice mindfulness, address your emotional health issues, and even connect with other survivors. One of the things that I did going through my cancer journey was to make sure that I connected with other survivors. Like I would search out individuals that was going through, I mean, that had already been through the cancer journey and they was like years out. And I would talk to them and just pick their brain about what I was getting ready to go through and how the cancer treatment affected them and what were their takeaways. And I gained a lot of knowledge from that. And also the American Cancer Society, they will link you with an individual who has the same similar diagnosis is close to yours and treatment is close to yours that you could talk to, and you can find some sort of comfort in, okay, if they went through this and they recovered and this is what they're doing, then you look at your chances of maybe I can get through this too. So I think it's really important to reach out to individuals or reach out to organizations that would pair you with someone with the same diagnosis to help you eliminate some of the fear of the unknown as you're getting ready to go through your survivorship. And number 4 is the lifestyle adjustments that come with a cancer diagnosis. And once you're done with treatment, many things can change. Your eating habits change. Some things you may not be able to eat as a result of you going through the chemo. A lot of times, going through chemo messes up your teeth. A lot of people lose teeth, like it loosens your teeth. A lot of people have to get teeth pulled, and they may have to wear what they call either dentures or go get implants because the chemo damages your teeth. They tell you when you're getting ready to go through chemo to make sure that you go to the dentist first and get whatever work you need done, because if you try to get some dental work done while you're in treatment, it's not going to heal. So if you get a tooth pulled, then wherever they pull from that slot, it's not going to heal. It's already a slow healing process, but it's not going to heal. So it's important to make sure that you're taking care of your dental hygiene, your oral hygiene as well, before and after you go through a cancer diagnosis. And make sure that you adopt a healthier lifestyle. I don't like to say a diet because a diet to me is temporary, but adopt a healthier lifestyle. And that's just selecting healthier choices when it comes to eating fruits, vegetables, lean protein. Um, Try to stay off as much as possible the red meat, because we know red meat is classified as a carcinogen. It causes cancer. So things that you could do: avoid smoking. If you smoke, I would say quit, because we already know cigarettes causes cancer. Even if you're vaping is just horrible to do for your body, for your teeth. If you're drinking alcohol, so with alcohol, a lot of studies recently that have come out, they used to say, oh, you could limit your alcohol to, you know, 1 or 2 drinks or whatever, depending on your body weight. Now they're saying that no amount of alcohol is healthy for you, especially when it comes to reducing your risk of getting cancer. So I would even be cautious if you're an alcohol drinker. May want to push back the glass. I don't know. I'm not a drinker, so I don't encourage it. But if that's what you do, and if that's a part of your lifestyle, then you may want to rethink it or look at the research that they have out there as it relates to alcohol and cancer. Number 5, when it comes to the importance of breast cancer survivorship, is getting a survivorship care plan. And many individuals that walk away from treatment do not walk away with a care plan from their oncologist. A lot of times you're just let go and you're told, "Oh, okay, make sure you're going to the doctor if something is going on." But if you just went through all of this treatment that has damaged your immune system, and now you have to rebuild that immune system, and you have to basically learn how to eat all over again. A lot of people lose a lot of muscle mass when they're going through treatment, so they have to learn how to build their muscles up again when it comes to exercising. Like a lot of things that you have to do. And in that care plan that the doctor should give you should include all of that. It should include what things that you should do, what things you should eat, what things you should avoid, because, and I know that they don't tell you that is because a lot of doctors don't get educated on nutrition. They may have one class on nutrition. And doing my research, it was told that they don't get nutrition because they're not supposed to push nutrition, right? They're doctors, so they're supposed to push prescriptions. So they're not going to say, oh yeah, well, if you eat this diet, then you won't have to be on high blood pressure medicine. No, why would they say that? Because it's going to put them out of business, right? So they're in the business of writing prescriptions, basically putting a band-aid over on whatever is going on with you. um and I don't want to say all doctors are like that, but the majority of them are like that, to where they really don't sit down with you and get to the root cause of why this is happening. And if this is happening, let's put you on a regimen for like 3 months and then come back and see where you at, what you did wrong, what we could subtract, add, or, you don't have very many doctors that will sit down and take that time with you to go through a care plan like that, so that you won't have to be on medicine for the rest of your life. Now, some people may have to be, depending on what that medicine is. My daughter's a type 1 diabetic, so she has to be on insulin for the rest of her life, unless they come up with something where they can implant it in her body and it releases the insulin on its own. She has to take that insulin for the rest of her life. But then you have individuals that are maybe type 2 that a lot of times they say it comes from lifestyle. So there are things that you could do that will help you to change your lifestyle so that you won't have to be a type 2 diabetic, even if it runs in your family. We talk about the gun. When you load the gun, but your lifestyle actually pulls the trigger. So the genetics is the loaded gun, but your lifestyle actually pulls the trigger on if you're going to get whatever it is that runs in your family. So you don't have to get those diseases that are family. Number 6, when it comes to the importance of breast cancer survivorship, is to make sure that you build a support system. We always talk about how important it is to have a great support system around you when it comes to just handling your emotional, even your physical, just different things in life, especially when you're done with treatment, because most of the time you have all of the support when you are just newly diagnosed and when you're in treatment. But when you're done with treatment, everybody's like, oh, she okay. She's done with treatment. She don't really need the support anymore. Like, she's okay. That's not true. That's definitely not true. A lot of times you don't even be dealing with a lot of the things that are going on with cancer because you like tunnel vision trying to get through the treatment. And then once the treatment is over and the doctor says, okay, you're out on your own, you're released, you don't have to come to these doctor's appointments anymore. I can remember my doctor telling me, and I was just so scared. And I was looking at her and she was like, I have to let you go. It's been 5 years. Like, you haven't had any issues. You have to go to your general doctor. And I'm just like, this is how I feel, having gone through the treatment and being diagnosed with the triple negative breast cancer, which is the aggressive form of breast cancer. And once you're done, they don't give you anything else. Like some breast cancer diagnosis, they may be put on tamoxifen. They may have different things that they can take, after they're done with treatment, to reduce their risk of the cancer coming back. With triple negative, you have nothing. Like, you're not going to get scans, or once a year, they're not checking on you. They have no follow-up methods. The only follow-up method they have is you telling them you're having some sort of issues. Other than that, they have nothing. So I feel like it's almost like they have you up on this cliff, and the whole time they was taking care of you, making sure you didn't fall, making sure you was okay. They gave you everything you need. And then when you were done with treatment, they just pushed you off that cliff and say, okay, you're on your own. Now you have to do everything yourself. And it's just like, that in itself is traumatizing. And that's where the support system will come in to help keep you balanced emotionally. And you'll have someone, if you're not seeing a therapist or a counselor, which I do encourage you do while you're going through treatment. 'Cause a lot of times they're not going to even recommend that. which it should go along with you going through treatment. Why they're recommending the chemo and the surgery and the radiation and immunotherapy, the next prescription should be, and you have to see a counselor or therapist as you're going through treatment like this. You have to. After every treatment, you should be seeing someone. Because if you don't get it out of you, like, you going through treatment and then you're holding on, you got all this negative stuff in you, all this fear in you, and you're not releasing it out, which can make you more sicker than what you are. So that's where your support system come in, and they could be very vital to your survival. So be selective with who you allow in that circle to pour into you, to speak up for you, to even correct you when you're wrong. Because sometimes people they'll get to the point where they're like, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to do that. It's not working. And then you need somebody to kind of put you back on track and say, hey, no, we're here. I'm rooting for you. We got you. So be selective. Don't be afraid to distance yourself from people who um, drain you or just give you bad energy that you don't need while you're going through treatment. And you hear a lot of people say, oh, just be positive. Positive is going to get you through, your attitude. But positive does not save your life. But it does help you to cope and get through, what you have to get through. I'm going to say that. So if a person don't want to be positive for a day, okay, they don't have to be. They don't have to be positive all the time. They don't. If you want a day to mope and pity, okay, don't stay there. Don't stay there. Number 7, finding purpose and advocacy. I think this one is really important. And I don't want everybody to think that, because I went through a cancer diagnosis now, this is my purpose. And because it may not be for some people. I know a lot of cancer survivors don't even want to talk about their cancer journey. They don't want to share their testimony because it reminds them of the trauma that they went through. So it may not be their purpose, but you may find your purpose as you're going through the journey. A lot of times you have a lot of downtime to where you have a lot of time to think about why you're here. You come face to face with your mortality, and it forces you to think about what you're doing, what you're not doing, the plans that you have, and now you have to rework everything because guess what? These plans may be cut short. So I don't know how much time I have. So it's going to force you to think about the things that are important to you. And some people find their purpose while they're going through their cancer journey. And it may not be advocacy. It may not have anything to deal with cancer. But if you found your purpose, like I have through my cancer journey, then great. You could do things to just pique your interest as it relates to cancer. You could go to health fairs, you could go to seminars. I just started going to different seminars and just even traveling out of town by myself because I wanted to get the information. I wanted to get around other cancer survivors. And I see all these other races going to these different events. And I'm like, hey, I could do the same thing. And so I just started, looking up information and applying for these scholarships and raising money so that I could get out there and get information and bring it back to my community, bring some of these resources back to the community so that individuals know that they're out there. There's so many resources out there that we may not even know about in our community because a lot of times we don't even like to talk about cancer, period. We don't like to talk about it. And survivorship is one of those things. It's one of those things that's really powerful because it allows you to reclaim your health and it allows you to live. It kind of forces you to live within your purpose. It forces you to look at your life and say, hey, what's going on? And it should enhance the quality of your life because it should get you to thinking differently and making different choices as it relates to your health. So if you were doing something that was damaging to your health and you didn't care, and now it forces you to be like, hey, wait a minute, I don't want to do that anymore because, it could contribute to me having a recurrence or just having a low quality of life. Number 8, address financial and employment concerns. A lot of times individuals are going through cancer journeys, and when you're done, a lot of times you may have taken time off work, and they may have cut your hours, or you may just have lost your job altogether. Now you have to try to figure out financially what I'm going to do, because financially cancer is very taxing. It's very expensive, and now you have a challenge of trying to get back on your feet and maybe find another job, and you may still be fatigued from going through cancer, and you may not even want to go work a job, and now you may have to go and get on assistance, which we know is never enough money, especially when you have these co-pays and you have bills coming from different tests that you have to take. There are some nonprofit organizations out there that do help individuals that are going through a cancer diagnosis, or just may need, that financial bridge to help them get through cancer. You can go to my website, warriorstalk.org. I have a resource section. You can click on that, and I have organizations that do help individuals financially. And you could just click on their website, and it will take you directly to their page, and just follow the process of filling out the application and applying. And you will be surprised of the organizations out there that will help. And I'm very proud and excited about Warriors Talk, because our last gala that we had in October of this year, we were able to bless a warrior who was in battle with $1,000. So I was so excited about that. I had an organization that reached out to me, and they saw my information on Facebook. They saw that I was raising money, and they donated $1,000. And that was my goal for the person who was in battle, is to, give them $1,000 this year. And God allowed me to meet that goal. And so I'm excited, because that's what it's about. It's about helping individuals. And I knew this particular person was going through financially when it came to treatment, and having like a balance left over with treatment, and just having to go to treatment, and them looking at you, knowing that you have this balance is just, it could be stressful. And so I was glad that Warriors Talk was able to help, and that the donation came through. I just put it out there that that's what I needed, and God just answered. He just answered the prayer for that. And so I was excited about that. And so there are organizations out there that will help financially. You just have to go through the steps of applying, and don't apply just to one, apply to a lot of them. And, they don't say, oh, if you get money from here, you can't get it from another place. No, so just fill out as many as you can, and follow up with them to see if they're going to respond, and what is their process or their turnaround time for letting you know. Number 9 is to stay informed about new treatment and research. There are so many different clinical trials that happen that may be beneficial to individuals that are going through treatment or may be done with treatment. And you can go to clinicaltrials.gov, and you can research some clinical trials to see if you even qualify for them. And it may be beneficial. You just never know. And you may not have to come out of your pocket with anything. Your insurance may be able to cover it. When it comes to cancer research, there's so many things that it seems like it's not advancing. It seems like we are moving so slow, and it feels like, oh my God, they collecting. This is how I felt before I had cancer. I'm like, they collecting all this money they're raising with these walks and all this cancer research. Like, where's this money going? Where's the research? We still don't have a cure. They declared war on cancer 30 years ago, and nothing has happened. Like, where's all of this money going? Well, I had a chance to sit on a panel that is a peer review panel that reviewed grant applications of individual researchers that have what they feel may be a cure, or may be less toxic therapy for for breast cancer. And so I got to sit on about 4 or 5 of them and just review with other scientists, other cancer survivors. And we was able to give our input on if we felt that the therapy they was coming up with would be toxic, or would it be beneficial for individuals that have to use it. And I felt like, oh my God, I felt empowered because I seen the amount of research that um, applications that was trying to get these grants. So I know somewhere in one of those piles could be a cure. So I was honored to sit on one of those peer reviews, to know that my voice was heard. So research is could be really tricky. It could be really tricky, but it's I think they are really hopeful right now with AI. For some reason, they feel like AI is going to be able to help a lot, especially when it comes to diagnosing cancer even before any tumors or anything have developed in the body. So that could be promising for individuals. Number 10 is to practice self care and to manage your stress, because this could be a stressful time. Again, we're talking about survivorship. So you're not in treatment with survivorship, you're done with treatment. And so this could be a very stressful time just thinking about, okay, now I have to get on with my life. And thinking about in the back of your mind, it may be recurrence, and every time you get a ache, an itch, something sore, anything happening, you thinking, oh my God, is this monster coming back to haunt me? So it could be a very stressful situation, but I would encourage you not to allow it to consume you. If you're having any issues, to go to the doctor and address them so that you can have a peace of mind. When it comes to practicing self-care, make sure you're doing things that make you happy, that cater to um, your overall well-being. It could be anything. It don't necessarily have to be going to get a manicure or a pedicure. It could be taking a walk, taking yourself out to eat, taking yourself on a trip, going by yourself, like taking time just for you to kind of like collect yourself and pour back into yourself, because we so busy, especially women, pouring into everybody else, and then when it comes to us, we're like, oh, was I supposed to do that for me? So make sure that you're doing something for you on a daily basis when it comes to self-care. Number 11, when it comes to the importance of breast cancer survivorship, is to plan a post-treatment exercise routine. And I can't express or how important it is for when it comes to exercise. There's a study that said if you exercise, especially when you're done with cancer treatment, 59% it'll help decrease a recurrence. 59%. And they said that was the highest of anything that they recommend that you do to decrease your chances of getting a recurrence is to exercise, right? We know 30 minutes a day, 150 minutes a week. And the important thing was to also incorporate, weights, strengthening exercise in there to rebuild those muscles from what you may have lost when you were doing treatment. So I can't ex- I can't even stress how important exercise is. If it's 59%, it's going to decrease your chances of getting cancer, another cancer diagnosis. That it's a no-brainer for me. And then number 12, and let me say, I hate to exercise. I hate to exercise, but I do it because it's one risk factor that I can control. Is That's one thing that I can do to take control in my hands, is to exercise and do everything that I can to decrease my chances of getting a recurrence. Number 12, when it comes to the importance of breast cancer survivorship, is to focus on nutrition and immune health. And I did talk about a little bit about the type of foods that you should eat, things that you should start selecting now in your diet. So after my cancer diagnosis, not right away, I became a vegan, and I just decided that I wanted to try something different, and I wanted to since I had to rebuild my immune system, and I wanted to make sure that I was putting the right things in my body to give it a chance to fight off any genes or anything cells that may go rogue in my body. If I'm fueling my body daily with the right foods that are catered to killing cancer cells, then that I'm taking control of those risk factors that I can decrease. So, and again, it's not something that is going to be overnight when it comes to a lifestyle. This is something that you can incorporate into your life on a daily basis, stuff that you can eliminate, and stuff that you can um, incorporate. Even like with, I don't drink pop, like I don't do caffeine. My liquids are mainly water and tea, and that's what I normally drink. And I had to do the caffeine, I had to do it like cold turkey, or otherwise I probably wouldn't have done it. So just little things like that. And now I don't even think about it. If somebody offered me pop, it's like, no, no, I'll get the water instead. So just like little things like that would help encourage you to just make healthier choices. Another thing you could do is stay connected in your community when it comes to your community of cancer survivors, so that you won't feel isolated. Because a lot of times we feel like maybe our family don't know or understand what we're going through. And so you may feel isolated. Make sure that you have a good support group around you. So, and the support group may not be for everybody. Like for me, I did not do a support group. It just wasn't for me. But for some people, they may need that. So even if you join, like, sometimes they have these forums online where you could participate online and you could listen to the different topics as it relates to cancer. Or you could go to your local clinic. They may have a support group there. You can join in on walks, wellness retreats, listen to other survivors share their stories. It gives you some sort of comfort when you hear other individuals have went through the same thing. Another thing that you can do is make sure that you are setting personal goals for yourself. So a lot of times you get weighed down with everything that's going on, and you get engulfed into the cancer diagnosis. You forget that you still have a life to live after that. After treatment, you still have to pick up the pieces and get on with your life, right? So think about some goals that you wanted to do that you probably put to the side and you didn't have time to do because you were so busy. Set goals as it relates to your purpose, what direction you want to go in now that, you have this second chance at life. It's a new chapter. It's a new opportunity to do new things that you're passionate about. Another thing we could do is to make sure that you select a doctor that you can have a relationship with, one where you feel comfortable talking to, comfortable bringing up issues. When you have some sort of symptoms, you're not retreating and be like, oh, I don't want to go in, they're going to give me some bad news. Every time I go to the doctor, it's bad news. You want to be able to have someone that you relate to. I remember having a doctor like that, and then she left and went somewhere else, and I was just like, oh God, I have to find somebody else. So it's important to interview your doctors and see how you feel, how comfortable you feel going to them. And when you bring up issues to them, do they dismiss the issues? Do they just make it seem like it's all in your head? Like, oh, you just, that's just normal. And you're like, no, this is no, that's not normal. This is what I'm feeling. Another thing you could do is to educate your loved ones and the people that are around you about what you're going through. Because again, a lot of times they feel like, oh, she's not in treatment anymore, so she should be fine. No, let them understand, you're not fully 100%. There are some lingering effects of treatment that sometimes may not show up for years to come. So educate them on, how you're feeling emotionally and physically so that they can know how to support you. And then celebrate your victories. When you achieve something as it relates to your cancer journey, celebrate. Don't wait. If they tell you, oh, you're not declared a survivor until you get through that 5 mile marker. No, celebrate when you're done with chemo, celebrate when you're done with radiation surgery, celebrate yourself and any little accomplishment that you can, and treat yourself. Um, some people when they get ready to shave their head, they have a party and they shave their head, and some of the other people shave their heads too. Some people will do what they call they would do like a sculpture of their breasts, and they'll have a party with that and have people to come around, get the cake with the boobs on it. Like, it's different things that you could do to kind of take the power back from the way cancer is making you feel. Like, you know, include your loved ones in on the journey so that they can feel a part of your healing. And then make sure you are including God in on the mix. We're search for everything else to make us feel comfortable and to calm our nerves. But make sure God prayer is at the top of that list. Um, a lot of times we think that our relationship is solid when it comes to him. If you believe in God, you believe in Jesus Christ, and then when you go through a traumatic situation, you're like, whoa. My relationship was like not intact at all. So this will be a great time for you to reevaluate your relationship with God and get things in order, and just get your life back on a track to where you can feel confident about how you're moving spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. When something is out of whack, when something is not balanced, then the whole body is not balanced. So just make sure that you're working towards, balance in all of those areas. And again, it may not be something that's going to happen overnight. So don't beat yourself up. Survivorship is about living beyond cancer. It's about finding ways to acknowledge, your journey and how you got there. With each step, just continue to build legacy of resilience, of strength, of empowerment. All right, you guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope that you were able to take away something from the importance of breast cancer survivorship. And I would encourage you not to go anywhere. Coming up next, right here on Intellectual Radio, is Pillow Talk with God. I will leave you with these words of wisdom. One day at a time, one step at a time, you can do your best and let God handle the rest. Join me next Monday right here at 6 p.m. on Intellectual Radio. My special guest next week is Dr. Michelle Meeks. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on IntellectualRadio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.
I never let my song play all the way through. That's so sad.